He now says we are, quote, in a golden age. Not only gold is stuff he's hanging on the mantle of what? Isn't it? Oh. But this, all kidding aside, does anyone feel like this is a golden age? It's in the golden age. The fact of the matter is that it was a very, very dark moment.
What sharp and energetic commentary. Former President Biden once again calling this a dark time as his public criticisms of Trump grow louder and more frequent.
Biden spoke at a Nebraska Democratic Party fundraising dinner in Omaha Friday, condemning the president for everything from withholding SNAP benefits to demolishing the East Wing of the White House. Take a listen.
I knew Trump was going to take a wrecking ball of the country, but I had no idea. I have to admit, I didn't know it was going to be an actual wrecking ball. Anyone see what he's done to the East Wing of the People's House, the White House? It's a perfect symbol of his presidency. Trump is taking a wrecking ball not only to the People's House, but to the Constitution, to the rule of law, to our very democracy.
But Biden later pointed to last Tuesday's elections as a reason for Democrats to hope.
The fact is that we had a great night in Virginia, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, California, New York City, Georgia, Mississippi, even in Mississippi. Look, the American people are sending a message. They're sending a message to Trump and to his crowd. You work for us, Mr. President. We don't work for you. You work for us. Not just billionaires and millionaires. I mean it sincerely. I'm angry. You work for us.
So far, neither Trump nor the White House has responded to Biden. Well, look, the former president is welcome to speak and fundraise for Democrats and to be critical of what Trump is doing. Nothing really original or surprising in the remarks he made, without overly dwelling or being nasty about his age and condition. I'll just say he looked rather frail and sounded extremely frail to me there, and he was obviously not speaking off the cuff. Yep. He was delivering prepared remarks, even those he was, I don't mean to overly pick it didn't seem the most spectacular delivery ever, and the idea that he was that their thought was for him to be president for another 4 years is just laughable, but I wish him well, and he can speak his mind. He's every right to do that as an American.
Yeah. This is one of those separating the message from the messenger ones. I think the dark time in America is something that obviously many millions of Americans feel about the Trump presidency. I understand that. I have argued the reasons for that numerous times here. Democrats did do well in those elections on Tuesday. I'll talk about that in the context of the government shutdown deal later. But there is obviously a very different question as to whether it is helpful or useful for Democrats to have Joe Biden out there. And I think the overwhelming answer from any left of centre American would be no. He wasn't notably out in advance of those Tuesday elections. It was Obama primarily who took the lead as a big name surrogate for those candidates. And just Biden's obvious age and frailty again just reignites the debate about who knew what about his condition. And prior to the infamous debate that then sparked the whole drama leading to his withdrawal from the race. So I don't think it's very helpful. I always feel a little sad watching him, because although there are things that he did as president that I would strongly disagree with, and although I think the decision to seek a second term initially was a pretty catastrophic mistake, I do see him as a fundamentally decent human being. And to have someone out there who's there's almost a degree of pity for him, I think, even from opponents now. And that's a rather grim way to end a long career in public life, having been elected to the Senate in the 1972, I think, certainly sometime in the early 1970s. So yeah, I find it a little sad all around.
Yeah, I was never able to muster much personal animus for Joe Biden himself. Seemed like a nice, if sometimes gruff old man, the way old men are, or the way our grandparents and great-grandparents are, was reminiscent of that. He's a snappy dresser. For trying to look for nice things to say about the man.
Loves his family, has suffered enormous tragedy, obviously, in his life.
Understood. I think that was maybe the best, if you're moving away from policies, obviously, the affirmative case for Joe Biden in 2020 being that we were going through as a nation a time of tremendous suffering, and he was someone who did, that was him at his best, seeming to understand and empathize with people engaged in that. Now, the fact of the COVID campaigning, masking the already kind of advanced aging he was going through, ended up also benefiting him. But outside of rooms of just extreme Democratic partisans, I don't think they're clamoring for more Biden, the way they do clamor for more Obama, at least to some extent.
Absolutely. I mean, it's notable how rare it is for Biden to make these public appearances. And with all due respect to the people of Nebraska, a Friday night in Omaha is not necessarily the biggest engagement it's possible to imagine in the world. So I think all of that points to the fact that there is a general awareness of that he's not a very useful spokesperson or surrogate for the Democratic cause, and it just gives Trump and MAGA world a target to aim at, in my view.
Yeah, and he's he comes across as so old, and I don't even know if there was a demand for him, how much he'd be willing to do. He must have some limitations at this point. Well, and he's undergoing treatment for cancer.
Right.
So.
No, I know. It's just all. I think it is time to sort of get off the stage with as much grace as can be mustered at this point, and leave it to other people. Who that will be in the Democratic Party, that's a whole other conversation. But it's. I think Joe Biden's moment is gone, and it would be best leaving that behind.
Next up, House Democrats say that Ghislaine Maxwell will ask Trump to commute her federal prison sentence. Don't go anywhere.